Um, Now, having gone through today's session, and this is to the society, where do we go from here? Because there's a lot at stake here. So are we going to, this may be Willis's wheelhouse, to have some kind of follow-up? Because I hate to think we've discussed quite a bit, we have heard quite a lot, which could be beneficial to some players who are here, some who are not here. And my take on this is, be in a position where we are at the table in coming up with solutions and making decisions, because unfortunately, a lot of decisions are made without the right people at the table. And we pay the price because our tax dollars, more often than not. Private sector is a little bit more diligent. But yeah, as an internet society, Willis, I think we can start thinking about the next step. As a follow-up to this, what came out of today's, what did it mean to you? Maybe we can get some feedback. Just about 5 minutes and we're going to close. We're ahead of time. What does it mean to you? What did you get out of this? And how do you, any suggestions as to how we can take this to the next level?
Well,
go ahead,
it
Willis.
is nice that we have had the major players in the disaster, the one we just had there. We had
Yes.
we had Nemo, we had Flo, who presented a scenario which I'm sure is maybe similar to what Digicel would have experienced. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Vilnec here. We have discussed a lot, lots of questions. People are curious. I think they have dispelled a lot of issues that we have had over the period. For instance, I think if they were able to make that presentation, a national presentation,
Right,
would dispel a lot and would earn a lot of little kudos and a lot of ease of the pressure on their
correct.
on their operations. People just they just love to antagonize a utility, a public utility. Everybody thinks that the public utility is just there to make money and not necessarily in the interest of the society and the betterment. And most of the time, that's far from the truth. And an opportunity to dispel that is
Right.
what we presented here today. To get it done on a larger scale is probably something we'll be looking forward to. But more importantly, is for us to be able to collect and put together the information that we've gathered here today
Right.
in a sort of a way, that a pamphlet or a document that could drive not just discussion but action
Correct.
on a national scale. Is a discussion we would have among
Right.
ourselves maybe at IGF. That may very well be taking us a little beyond the role of the IGF, but
Correct.
anything for the national good. Because the point you've made, where do we go from here? And I can see that this has not ended. This
Right.
is not the end of it. There's a lot of work to happen. There's a lot of things that could come out of this, and we should now be able to do a lot of things better. One of the things that happen in a storm is that it presents the opportunity to upgrade.
Right.
It presents the opportunity to jump ahead. One friend of mine used to say, boys, and listen, need a disaster. He was a service provider. So we need a hurricane or eruption or something. And true to form, we had an eruption. And out of that became a lot of work for him. But the essence of this story is that Grenada had a hurricane. And I believe that Grenada's resilience to this Beryl was due to the fact that Grenada had a newer network.
Right.
A network that was built more recently, where St. Vincent Vinlec had poles that were planted 20, 30 years ago, and they're doing the change out and they're doing the upgrade, but they're doing it gradually. In Grenada's case, they had no choice. They had to rebuild their whole system. And so when people talk about Grenada coming back up really quickly as against St. Vincent, I think that's probably one of the reasons for it. Union Island will be a different place, an unrecognizable place when some of us go down there and see it rebuilt. You know, but there is a balance between when you rebuild, whether you rebuild for resilience or you rebuild for comfort, whether you could, Cable and Wireless is taking the opportunity to go underground. Finlec don't have the luxury of doing that, I don't think, because they will never get there soon enough for life and living to continue. People want electricity and they want it now. And if you have to go and do underground ducts and so on, that's not going to happen in a while. So there's a balance you have to strike sometimes. But those are decisions and things that could come out of this discussion, and I hope that we are all up for it to let us continue with this type of analysis of disasters and so on. I know I'm not doing the voter thanks, but I want to mention before the voter thanks, the input that Barcelos Constance made in pulling this together. I wasn't available for last 2 weeks, and my communication to St. Vincent was affected by the hurricanes, both Helen it was? Helen and Milton. And I was sort of trapped between them both. And Marcellus is who really pulled this off, and I want to summon a round of applause for his organization skills, and to express my heartfelt appreciation. Thank you.
Okay. One final thing. John, could you come up? One of the things that I see coming out here is the Internet Society is in a place where you can pull resources and do events. But we need people on board to help with planning and execution. So what I'm asking, if you're not yet a member, that you do so before you leave. At least show appreciation for what was accomplished today. So when you go through the door, you have to show your membership. That's how you get out.
Thank you.